What if I told you that one of the most advanced civilizations in human history left behind no kings, no grand temples, and no clear identity? What if a society existed 5,000 years ago, with cities cleaner than ours, systems smarter than ours, and yet it vanished without a trace? This isn't just history, this is your story. Welcome to the unknown story of the Harappan Civilization. Let's go back to around 2600 BCE, to a time when, in the western part of South Asia, modern-day India and Pakistan, a civilization quietly rose, one that would challenge everything we think we know about the ancient world. But strangely, this story didn't begin with historians. It began with a man on the run. In the 1820s, a British soldier named James Lewis deserted the East India Company Army. To avoid capture, he changed his identity to Charles Masson and began wandering across the Indian subcontinent like a nomad. Masson had a deep fascination with ruins, and in 1829, he stumbled upon something unusual in the plains of Punjab, a massive mound covered with ancient bricks. Locals believed it was cursed, haunted even. But Masson saw something else. He wrote in his diary that this place might be hiding the remains of an ancient city. Still, he assumed it belonged to the time of Alexander the Great. He had no idea that what he had just discovered was far older, by thousands of years. For decades, those mounds remained silent. And then came a mistake that could have erased history forever. In 1856, as the British were building railway lines between Karachi and Lahore, they needed strong material for the tracks. Workers found the same ancient bricks lying in abundance at the site. Without a second thought, they tore apart the ruins and used those 5,000-year-old bricks to build railways. Imagine that, an entire civilization crushed beneath iron tracks. But the story wasn't over yet, because buried beneath the soil, the truth was waiting. In the 1920s, under the leadership of John Marshall, the Archaeological Survey began systematic excavations. In 1921, Daya Ramsani started digging at Harappa, and what he found shocked the world. Not ruins, not scattered remains, but a complete, planned city. A year later, Rakhaldas Banerjee uncovered another site, Mohenjo-daro, nearly 600 kilometers away. Same bricks, same layout, same mysterious symbols. In 1924, the world finally heard the truth. India was home to a civilization as ancient as Egypt and Mesopotamia, but in many ways, even more advanced. Now imagine this. You're standing in a Harappan city. The streets are wide, straight, and perfectly aligned, cutting each other at exact 90-degree angles. There's no chaos, no randomness. Everything feels planned. This is the grid system, something modern cities still struggle to perfect. The city is divided into two parts. On one side, a raised citadel, home to important buildings. On the other, the lower town, where ordinary people live. But here's the surprising part. There are no massive palaces, no grand statues of kings. Who ruled this place? Or did anyone rule at all? Look closer. Every house, big or small, has its own bathing area. Many even have private wells. And beneath your feet runs something extraordinary. A fully developed drainage system. Covered drains carry waste out of homes into larger channels and then out of the city. Even cities like London and Paris didn't have such systems until thousands of years later. And yet, the Harappans had mastered it 5,000 years ago. Their bricks were uniform, made in a perfect 4:2:1 ratio. Their houses were strong, some even multi-story. This wasn't just construction. This was engineering brilliance. But a civilization is more than its buildings. So what was life like here? Picture a bustling marketplace, people exchanging goods, not with money, but through barter. Pots for grain, beads for cloth. Farmers grew wheat, barley, and mustard. They raised animals, they fished. They cooked meals rich in variety. Inside homes, families gathered. Children played with toys, tiny carts, animal figures, even whistles. Yes, toys. Because this was a society that valued life, not just survival. They loved art. One of the most famous discoveries is a small bronze statue, a young girl standing with confidence, hand on her hip. The dancing girl. Even today, her posture speaks of pride, of freedom, of expression. This tells us something important. Women in this society were not invisible. They were part of culture, part of life. The Harappans were also master craftsmen. They made jewelry from gold, silver, and precious stones. They carved beads with incredible precision. They painted pottery with geometric designs. And then there were the seals. Small, carved stones with strange symbols and animal figures. A unicorn-like creature appears again and again. But was it real or symbolic? No one knows. Because here lies the greatest mystery of all, the Harappan script. Over 400 unique symbols found on seals, tablets, and pottery. But even today, no one has been able to read it. Was it a language or just symbols? Were they writing stories, prayers, or trade records? Without understanding their script, we are only guessing, and that silence is haunting. But the Harappans weren't just thinkers and builders. They were traders. From the port city of Lathal, their ships sailed across the Arabian Sea, reaching distant lands like Mesopotamia. Ancient texts from Mesopotamia even mention a place called Meluha, believed to be the Indus Valley. They exported goods like beads, ivory, and textiles. They imported metals and luxury items. Their trade network was vast, organized, and powerful. So how does a civilization like this disappear? Around 1900 BCE, something began to change. The cities started losing their order. Drainage systems clogged, trade declined. People began leaving. What happened? Was it war? There's no clear evidence. Was it invasion? That theory has been challenged again and again. The answer may lie in nature. Rivers began to change their course. The mighty Saraswati, once a lifeline, started drying up. Floods struck repeatedly in some regions, while drought hit others. The climate shifted, rainfall decreased, farms failed, food became scarce, and slowly, silently, the civilization began to fade. This wasn't a sudden destruction. It was a slow collapse, a quiet end. People didn't vanish overnight. They moved towards the east, towards the Ganga plains. They carried their knowledge, their traditions, their way of life. And over time, they became us. Modern DNA studies suggest that the people of the Indus Valley are directly linked to present-day Indians. North or south, the roots are shared. Which means this isn't just their story. It's ours. Even today, echoes of Harappa live around us. The way we greet with folded hands, the way we respect nature, the patterns in our ornaments, the games we play, the values we carry, all of it has roots stretching back thousands of years. But here's the real question. Are we truly more advanced than them? We have technology, skyscrapers, smart cities, and yet, a little rain floods our roads. Our drainage fails. Our systems collapse. Meanwhile, 5,000 years ago, they built cities that worked perfectly. History is not just about the past. It's a warning. The Harappan civilization didn't fall because of enemies. It fell because nature changed, and perhaps they couldn't adapt in time. Today, we stand at a similar crossroads. Climate change, environmental damage, The signs are there. The ruins of Harappa don't just tell a story, they whisper a message. Live with nature or lose everything. In the end, civilizations don't truly die. They transform, and Harappa lives on in us. If you found this story fascinating, make sure to subscribe for more untold histories.